Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Just one more minute, and meanwhile, if all the remaining or new attendees can rename yourself, there are few names that are coming as Samsung, Sia, Joel, Harry. If you can just rename yourself with your district number and the role and the name, that will be fantastic.
Welcome, CGD Gail.
Hello.
Hello, Gael.
Hello, Gigi94. My Gigi.
I hope you're fine in Togo.
We are fine here.
Very good. Welcome.
Dear leaders, it is 8 p.m. Qatar time. You are ready to start? Grace, it's all up to you now. Let me mute everyone, but you will have got the permission to unmute. Okay. Grace, all yours now.
Grace and our PR manager Maud. The screen is yours.
You're on mute, Grace. You cannot. Grace, you're on mute.
Guys, I'm just experiencing some problem. Give me 2 minutes. I will log out and log in again.
Okay, sure.
All right. Now we can hear you though.
2 minutes. I will log in and log out again. I mean, log out and log in. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Meanwhile, I will keep bothering people with all the attendees with my message of renaming.
Yeah.
Good to see good participation from our district 116 members, past area directors, division directors, club presidents.
I think
but this primarily meant for others, right? But how many are from other districts?
We are getting more and more members joining. So maybe in another 5-10 minutes we will see more members from District 74, 114, 94.
All right. Oh, Grace is back. Okay.
Let's give them maybe a bit more of time. Maybe more people will be joining.
Good evening.
Good evening, our past district director, Rajeswar.
Good evening, Rajeswar.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Grace, say something.
Yeah, I said, maybe we'll give them a bit more time, like 5 minutes or so, and then see if more people will be joining from this district. What do you think?
Yeah,
I think
it's
one
okay.
more minute.
But,
I think we should start.
say something in the meanwhile. Yeah.
Yeah, they can join meanwhile. Yes.
Okay, Maud, is it Maud? Are you there?
I am indeed. I'm
All right.
waiting on
Okay.
you, Grace. Over to
Maud,
you.
okay, you get started, Maud, and I follow you after.
Absolutely. Good evening, bonsoir, hamjambo, fellow Toastmasters, fellow leaders from across Region 11. It's such an honor to see so many of you here tonight. The late, great Jack Walsh said, before you are a leader, success is about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is about growing others. And I think that statement is so true, especially for us as Toastmasters, as we work towards the district mission of building clubs and supporting all clubs in achieving excellence. And what better way to find out how we can go about doing this than from learning from the best of the best in the world. In fact, District 11 is the top district in the world, and they're here to share with us practical tips and best practices on how we as clubs, areas, divisions, and districts can work towards achieving excellence. As usual, I'm not alone. I'm here with the lovely PR manager from District 116, distinguished Toastmaster Grace Moran. Grace, how are you this evening?
I'm fine. I'm doing great, Maud. I'm really excited. And I hope everybody is excited as I am too.
Great, absolutely. Let us get started without wasting any time. I will hand over to you, Grace, to let us know who our first speaker will be tonight. Over to you.
Thank you, Maud. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Are you ready and excited to know the secret formula? But before that, allow me to introduce our Region 11 International Director. Distinguished Toastmaster Aletta Rochat has been a Toastmaster since 2008. She was a past Region 11 advisor, past District 74 governor, and currently the International Director for Region 11. She is a speaking and interview coach as well as an author. She lives in Cape Town, South Africa. So let's welcome our Region 11 International Director, Aletta Rochat.
Thank you so much, Grace. And gosh, what a wonderful turnout. It's the next best thing to being with you in person. Didi Thailand and R.A. Sunil, thank you so much to you and your teams for making tonight possible. What struck me during lockdown was how generous the Region 11 leaders were in sharing expertise and helping each other through that learning curve, the learning curve that included online council meetings, online elections, online contests. And I was always blown away by the level of expertise and just the heart of the people who are willing to set aside their time for us to help one another. We know that District 116 has been a wonderful beacon of light to districts all over the world, and we're immensely proud to have them in our Region 11 family. I have learned over the years that it doesn't matter what your level of success is, you have something of value to share with someone else. So to the District 116 team tonight, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. To all the other district leaders on the call, I challenge you to make sure that you've written down something that you absolutely need to know before you leave this call, and make sure you ask the right questions. And I know that the collective wisdom in this gathering will give you the answers you're looking for. And remember, the connection doesn't stop when this call stops. You've got this wonderful team available to you at any time. You just need to reach out and ask. So thank you to everyone for organizing this. I'm going to sit back, relax, and enjoy listening and learning from you. Back to you, Grace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Aletta. Success becomes sweeter when more districts join for a grand celebration. Question is, why are we all here tonight? To learn the success formula. And tonight we will hear from District 116 leaders, how they overcame the challenges, how they're able to sustain the success, and what are the best practices they follow. Another question is, are they easy to be implemented in other districts? Well, we will find out through these 3 segments of panel discussions. For us, District 116, we're here to support other districts and fellow Toastmasters. Now allow me to introduce the passionate leaders of District 116 who is beyond the success. Let me start with our immediate past District Director, Rajeswar Sundar. Distinguished Toastmaster Rajeswar Sundar has been a Toastmaster for 20 years. He is the first District Director for District 116 Qatar and led District as #1 in the world in 2019. This fate was repeated in 2020, where he played the role as immediate past District Director. He was District 20 Leadership Chair, Realignment Committee Chair, DTAC Education Chair, Division A Governor, and held various leadership positions. Now, past District Director, Raghavan Menon. Distinguished Toastmaster Raghavan Menon, who started his Toastmaster journey in 2008, was part of a team that made District 116 #1 district in the world in 2019 to 2020 as the District Director, and in 2018-2019 as the District Program Quality Director. He has held various leadership positions inside and outside Toastmasters. He was the chairman of Engineers Forum and KEF, both leading engineering bodies in Qatar. Our current District Director, Tayalan K. Distinguished Toastmaster Tayalan K has been a Toastmaster for the last 15 years. He was the past president of Qatar Toastmasters Club, past area governor, past division director, past club growth director, plus past program quality director, and currently serving as district director of District 116. Program quality director Manzoor Moideen. Distinguished Toastmaster Manzoor Moideen has been a Toastmaster for over 18 years. He was the past Division E Governor, immediate past District 116 Club Growth Director, and currently serving as District Program Quality Director. Our Club Growth Director, Rajesh VC. Distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh VC has been a Toastmaster since 2014 and has served in various leadership roles. He was the past area director, past division director, and past district logistic manager. He has achieved the pinnacle of Toastmasters education program twice and currently serving as the club growth director. Our panel discussion will be divided into 3 segments. The first segment will be by Region Advisor Sunil Katharatil. Will guide us through the discussion and will ask each District 116 leader a question. The second segment, I will be inviting the District 74, 94, and 114 leaders to ask questions, and District 116 leader will be assigned to answer all them. For the last segment, will be from the audience, and Toastmaster Maud from District 74 will be the moderator and read all your questions. So I would like to request that you kindly post your questions in the chat box, and the leader of District 116 will answer them. We will try to accommodate all the questions if time permits. So without further ado, let's welcome our panel moderator. For first segment, let's welcome Region Advisor Sunil Katharatil.
Thank you, MCs, energetic public relation managers, distinguished Toastmasters Grace and Maud, respected Region 11 International Director, distinguished Toastmaster Aletta Rochat, enthusiastic leaders, and my dear family members of Toastmasters fraternity from Africa, Middle East, and the rest of the world. Good evening. Everyone wants to be successful. Each Toastmasters club member wants to utilize the education program to develop himself. At the club level, the club officers want to take their club to distinguished status by providing a positive learning atmosphere in the club. The area and division directors want to take their unit to the best position by serving the member clubs. The district want to be successful by redefining the benchmark year after year. Now, since its formation 2 years ago, District 116 has set a record by achieving medley distinguished status and maintaining world number 1 position consecutively. This year too, the district is surging ahead in all areas and is all set to be medley distinguished again, despite the challenges of current times. The entire world is seeing the success story that District 116 keeps writing. As Jack Welch said, before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. We appreciate today District 116 leaders for coming forward to share the best practices for the benefit of other districts. Let the district leaders and members benefit from this session. Let us take this success story of District 116 has written to the next level by helping others to become successful. Success becomes sweeter when everyone joined together for the celebration. Now, to start the panel discussion, let me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Rajeswar Sundaresan for the first question. When District 116 was formed in 2018, you were the district director, leading District 116 to medley distinguished as early as by end March, and then to world number 1 position in the very first year of reformation. You have demonstrated an effective teamwork among the district officers. Can you share some of the best practices you have followed in maintaining effective communication within the team?
Thank you, R.S. Sunil. That's a great question. I don't know, first thing I have to give some there is no the best practices. Best practices are something like a guidelines. It could change according to the situation which you are in. And so you have to adjust or accommodate or take the guidelines and work on it according to your environment. Let me first try to answer this question by saying that before, you asked about effective communication within the teams as the major takeaway. But first task was to form a team or a district cabinet, with administrative manager, public relation manager, finance manager, logistics, and we have Arabic club affairs people. Each one of them I pick very carefully with 3 important attributes. One is passion for Toastmasters. Second, persuasion for performance. Third, mindfulness for progress. These 3 are the essential ingredient for me to pick. And trust me, everyone I picked at that time, or I requested them to join at that time, can be a district director. There were many of them, and I had an option to pick my own people whom I felt more comfortable. But every one of them I tried had a qualities and attribute to be a district director. So the first and foremost thing was discussing with each one of them their roles and responsibilities. Of course, there is a guideline, Toastmasters leadership, district leadership manual. That was the base. But more than that, we articulated on performance measurement and progress benchmark. What is that we perform, and how do you know when we achieve the progress? So it was carefully, I'll say that set the expectations correctly, right? Articulated on the expectations. Both, it was mutual. What they can expect from me, what I expect from them. So it was a very cordial, long discussion with each of these officer, district directorate. And one of the important things in the communication, every part of communication, every member, every leaders of that was positivity. Because we came out of, a sad split. So we didn't want that to affect and impact our Toastmasters movement in Qatar. We wanted that to be probably something which happened very positive, as something like we fast forwarded. This could have happened 2 years later, but we fast forwarded it. So this happened all of a sudden because of some geopolitical situations. So it was in every communication, even we said that other districts want what we have got. Other districts want what we have got. That was a positive communication again. And going your own way has much to offer. This is from an advertisement of a car company. That means we have more opportunity, more training, more exposure, more leadership, things like that. So this was one of the prime communication in the beginning to get everyone together. Then we had, we want to make a mindset change for the members. This is, the legacy what we are creating have a long-lasting influence in the Toastmasters movement and for the people of Qatar, the state of Qatar, because our district is confined to one country. So we said this has long-lasting impact. So we have to work on that much beyond thinking that it's a one district and one mission. It is for the whole country. So we brought sort of say patriotic flavor in that. So the mindset change also means that we are not more a smaller division or a bigger division. It is a district. That means expectations are high. We have to have the quality in every aspect of work. We have to do everything upsize everything in a manner that we are equal to district. So this was a mindset change. So my constant communication was to create that mindset. Third was we worked on the district success plan with minutest detail. We spent 3 to 4 days, meaning in the evenings, and deliberated on every aspect of it, put down every success factors or activities and how to reach that activities very carefully for each role, whether PQD or club growth director or district director, or each functionary very carefully dealt with in the district success plan. And that became a very live document, and we could even refer to, in real life, we could refer to. When there was a conflict, there was one point where mentioned in district success plan, if there is a conflict which is not resolved, district director will take decision. There was a situation where district director, as a district director, I was left with taking that decision. So it became a live document and we followed it very thoroughly. Then important thing I understood was we had to build relationship before asking for results. So we built that relationship, cohesiveness, team building. Many team building workshops were done purposefully in every DECAM or even otherwise. So even as a virtual, we had, even before this COVID situation, we had a lot of virtual trainings where we put on this conflict resolution or team building workshop constantly so that people put together and understand the differences and take on to the problems and solve it early enough. Understand the problems and solve it early before it becomes a major issue. Then last but not the least, the plan for success. We planned the success for one important reason. We wanted to be a well-known Toastmaster destination, like our international director said. It's something like more than a legacy that we leave for our generation to come in a much higher level. We put it like, so that plan for success should with authenticity and action orientation was created. Then, one last, towards the end of the term, like towards the third term, when we already become the first medley district, we started a different slogan. We said we have to grow strong, not grow steadily. That means our success is not limited to the current year, because we are a new district. Unless we succeed in the current, this will become like laying the foundation, and we have to build on that to sustain that success. So our success depends on the sustainability and continuity of our program. That brings the credibility that it is not a beginner's luck. It didn't happen because we are a smaller district. We have to grow in an effective manner so that the members are getting the quality program delivered. So the communication was different. And the last, but strive influence. That was my slogan. Every leader should be a role model. in whatever role he's assigned to. So strive to influence people with that role modeling was another communication we consciously, in every word we said, every action we did, we consciously imbibed in ourselves. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, our proud leader, Rajeswar Sundaresan. In fact, I asked for only one best practice, but I got so many. This is what happens when you ask for one rose flower, he gave the entire garden.
Thank you.
So we could get a lot of tips from that. The team formation, the importance of collaboration among the team members, creating the right mindset among the team members through regular communication, and that long-lasting relationship, a family bonding among your team. That's wonderful tips. Thank you so much, Rajeshwar, our past district director. Now let us move on to our immediate past district director, Raghavan Menon. Distinguished Toastmaster Raghavan Menon, my question to you is, we have seen you meticulously leading the District 116 last year by going deep into the system and reaching out even to the member level to ensure a strong base is created for the district. In many districts, we have seen the leaders following the hierarchy. How did you manage reaching out to the member level and creating it as a best practice in your district, at the same time avoiding any conflict?
Okay. Thank you, Sunil. International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Aletta, Region Advisor Sunil, all my friends of Region 11 in Africa as well as in Qatar, good evening. Sunil, this is an interesting question what you asked. I know communication is what we learn in Toastmasters predominantly, but as leaders, that is one of the most difficult things all of us face. It is, we cannot avoid it, but to explain this little in detail, how what I did for this, first let me take you back to the year 2010 when I was the area director. That time Qatar as a Toastmasters activity was very small. We were just a division with just 4 areas. And during the meetings, discussions and debates, there was one of the topic was communication channels, how to do the communication with lower down. So the division director at that time was Shubha Anupindi, and the area directors, one of them is Manzoor Moideen, who's with us today, and other 2 people are there. So we all discussed, and majority came up with we should follow the hierarchy. Now, hierarchy is definitely the right thing to do, but I had a different opinion. I said, hierarchy is good, but sometimes this communication does not reach the right people or the right end where it has to reach. For example, if the action point is clubs, the clubs should get this communication well in time and appropriately. But the majority decided to go for the hierarchical communication method. We adopted that in the division and we followed. So many communications which used to come from Toastmaster International or the district, that time district was District 79. And those communications, area directors being very busy, we are all having their main job as a main job, and we have our families. So this becomes the third in the importance level. So some of the area directors used to forward it quickly to the clubs if the action is at the club level. Some of them being too busy used to do it after 2 days, 3 days, and some of them never did it. So ultimately, the division director had to call up, remind, send an email, or shout at this person, what happened, why it is not gone, then they will do it. So ultimately, that model, to my understanding, did not really succeed. So when I became the division director and later district director last year, I thought, why not we try that? So my formula is very simple, address to the action point. The action is at the club level, addressed to the club level. And just for your information, for all of you, this must be aware of it. For the district, your customer is not member. Your customer is a club or the clubs. Clubs are your customers. So your focus should be the clubs. They perform well, the district will perform well. So you have to have the communication channel addressed to the club. So what I suggested is address to the club leaders, that also address to more than one club leader, because in the club, people may be busy. So address to not only the president, VP education, VP membership, at least 3 of them, and then copy or CC to area director and division director, so that the hierarchy is maintained. They are not left behind. They are kept informed. So even if the division directors or district division director or area director is busy, they get to know it whenever they get time to read it. But the action point is where we are communicating to, and that has really worked. And I've seen last year when we were doing it, especially towards the last quarter, when we were trying to follow direct with the clubs, with their performance, the DCP points, the membership, etc. When they were lagging, we could directly go to the clubs and then talk to them and find out what is the problem they have, and if we can help them, whatever way we can help, we could do it. Another communication channel which we did, which is of course it's very popular nowadays, is using short communication channels using WhatsApp. So we created various groups where we could communicate very effectively. So one message, you put a short message, and that is read and understood by everyone in that particular group. So we had division directors group, area directors group, and the ExCom, council, etc. We had, I'm sure all the districts are following that method, which as I understand, but that also we found to be very quick and effective. So these are the communication channels we formulated, and we found this was working very well, and it was effective. Back to you, Sunil. That's all I wanted to tell you about this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I could realize that. Even I believe in that the magic happens at the club. So if we focus on the club from the district level, if you're focusing on the club, I'm sure the magic will happen and it will spread everywhere in the district. Thank you so much for that wonderful tip. Let's move on. Our district director, District 116 director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Thayalan Kailaya. We are observing District 116 aggressively chartering new clubs and participating in membership campaign during the first quarter itself. And this year, District 116 has met the Smedley Distinguished or the Smedley Award. Almost half of the clubs have received Smedley Award. So we can see that utilization of the first quarter itself to its fullest. Can you please share some of the best practices while you served as the first club growth director of District 116 that helped the district to continue this winning habit?
International Director, DTM Aletta Rochat, Region Advisor Sunil Kotarathil, fellow leaders and guests, good evening. First of all, it is a pleasure to be here and sharing our experiences. And for me, I had taken a lot of leadership positions, that CGD position was very dear to me, because we started as a new district. We had a lot of energy and enthusiasm to perform well. So that time we really wanted to achieve, because we started the district as with provisional district status. No, we at the trio, then our cabinet, all directorate, everybody, we were in unison that we have to ensure within the first year itself, we wanted to remove the P from us. That was the first target we had. For that to achieve, we have to ensure that we have adequate number of clubs and membership payments. For that, first we said again, now we have to have enough clubs. What we did is, as Benjamin Franklin said, no, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So we didn't want to get into that. So we planned. That time we had 15 areas and 4 divisions. What we did is, each area, 1 division, we had a plan of 15 new clubs. That was a plan what we had. But then finally 10 areas came with the new clubs, and 2 areas they came with 2 clubs each. So that made us to 12 clubs. Instead of 15, we charted 12 clubs. That means from 63 clubs, we went to become 75. No, that is actually a 80% of achievement from our target of 15, which we were very much comfortable with it and thankful for that. So that happened. Okay. Now again here one important thing what was happening in our team. Every division director and area directors are not as energetic as like everyone, and not as energetic as you wanted them to perform. So then what, as a CGD, what I was doing is I was talking and focusing on everybody, but in the meantime, I tried to identify the people who are really having that extra energy, extra passion to do something better. So I used to put some extra time from my side to work with them to multiply our efforts. There I found one of the division director. We had 4 divisions. One of the division directors was having some extra energy. I said, why not work with this gentleman? And finally, we won't believe, out of the 12 new clubs, one division brought 6 new clubs. That means 50% of the clubs came from one division, right? So that was an amazing thing. So that is one thing, as a leaders we have to always understand what is the capabilities of each individual, and that division directors is none other than my current club growth director, Rajesh VC, distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh VC. He is there with us. Yeah, he is getting spotlighted. Okay, he's the man behind that. That is the reason now he's here as a club growth director. And this year also he is doing the magic to us. And second one, I tell you about the membership campaign. We were our district director that time, Mr. Rajeswar. He was a finance person and he was with the PQD, everything. He told one arithmetic calculation for us. If you want to have the payments, very strong payments, we have to get the cemently distinguished, cemently membership award very high, because everywhere when you get the cemently awards, people joining before September, their payment is 3 times payment counted. So that is a key for us. So we understood that, we promoted that, and in District 116, we had a very good, that time, if my memory is correct, I think we had 48% of clubs achieved cemently distinguished, cemently awards. Then we had a good record on the top up Toastmasters and Beat the Club. Key area there was the continuous flyer campaign. We used to release multiple flyers, and every now and then we used to send the flyers congratulating people who achieved the things, and also motivating them. No? Everybody want appreciation, everybody want recognition. We got that and tapped on that. That is another thing I would say. And another thing also, that clubs also, no, they were all participating very nicely on that. Third one, I would say that CGD awards. We worked on the CGD awards where we can really put the clubs and members to stretch their limit and work on that. So there, what has happened is everywhere they have to work little extra to ensure that they are getting it out. So example, if I tell you, one award we had, a glittering membership award. That means if a club is renewing members for more than 25 or more members before 15th September, they will get a recognition of glittering membership award. Another one is dazzling membership. So that is again the next, before the renewal comes, at least 15 days before they do. So that is because we used to promote, and people, they wanted to have the clubs, they wanted to feel good, and they wanted to have a recognition. They work for that. And the real work thing that I enjoyed that period was another incident, that is the club leaders. When I started putting that flyers into the group, we had a council group, WhatsApp group. When I used to put that, lot of leaders, club leaders, they started directly interacting with me, bypassing that hierarchy. So then I also got little charged up. Then I started talking to them, giving them the right and all these things. Then finally they got motivated. So they are directly in touch with the district trio, and they were even for me, when club leaders were started talking to me directly, I also, to be very honest, I also got really charged up. So that also gave me a little extra boost to do on that. The last point, whenever you are a leader, you also need to take lead from the front. So I can proudly say, in that 12 clubs, I also was having some contribution of chartering 2 new clubs. I was part of that. One was from my company's corporate club, and another one is through one of the lead what I got it. And also, we always try to attend the meetings and motivate them. It is not that if you ask them to do, sometimes people don't do that. But if you are there in the front to lead, people will be following you. That's all from my side, RA.
Thank you, Didi. Thank you very much. Those was wonderful tips. I could see how District 116 has continued the legacy. We know that each and every member in our Toastmasters fraternity, they have something special in them. Identifying that specialty, identifying the potential in each member, and then creating an atmosphere to develop that, and using that, encourage members' potential for the benefit of everyone. That's something we have to learn from you. And once a member is contributing, appreciate, celebrate. That's a wonderful tips. Thank you so much, Didi Thailand. Now we have heard from our top leaders how the district is utilizing the best practices for district's growth. Now, next question to our program quality director, distinguished Toastmaster Manzoor Moideen. This is more about the members. We have so many members here. We have, ever since the traditional education program was replaced with the new dynamic pathways, we have seen a mixed reaction, maybe I will say a mixed reaction in accepting it. However, in District 116, we are seeing the pathways adoption rate very high. A lot of members are already in pathways. And our audience would love to hear the secret behind this, how you achieved this. Let's hear from our Dynamic Program Quality Director, Manzoor Moideen.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Sunil Kottarathil, International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Aletta Rochat, fellow leaders from around the world. A very, very good evening to all of you. Today, I think I read, which was posted by one of the Toastmasters, Paddy, change is the most constant thing that has to happen in our life. And it's also said that, change is, I'm trying to recall the quote, it says, change is not the painful thing, but resistance to change is the most painful thing. Which means, people don't accept the change as easy as it is. And it was obvious in our district as well, like every other district in the world. But then as Raghavan and Thailand just mentioned, we had a leadership who had paved the path to ensure that we do nothing but the best. The pathways was introduced in the early 2018, somewhere in the month of March. And since then, it was not an easy task, but definitely daunting as well. But remember, we had pathways guides and pathways ambassadors. Those days when we used to have in-person meetings, not affected by the pandemic, these ambassadors and guides used to visit each club and explain them the need of switching from the traditional to pathways. And repeated messages were also sent to all the members mentioning that you have only a couple of more years to go with the traditional path, and then you are left with no other path but pathways. And it was constantly followed up at every level, at area, division, club, and the member level. And that's where the pathways, ambassadors, and guides played a very, very important role. Now, since this year, beginning of this term, we are left with only pathways. The resistance was, not surprisingly, but from the old members who have been there in Toastmasters for many years, who have been in their comfort zone of giving speeches from the traditional manuals, the 10 manuals plus the 5 manuals plus the 5 manuals. They probably were not ready to accept easily the new path, because we are conditioned to certain, luxury, I would say, of giving speeches from the manuals. And I remember many people complained saying that, we don't want to get into that tech savvy thing where we log on and give speeches, because, they were used to refer to the manuals and give speeches. And as time passes, it's a new normal, the pathways in Toastmasters. So we had to accept that. But the role of pathways ambassadors and guides, as I mentioned earlier, played an important role. Last year, we had the luxury of both when it came to the DCP status, because members could achieve points in both. But even then, importance was given for pathways. Repeatedly, I remember even Thailand when he was the PQD, when Raghavan was the PQD, even then, though we had 2 more years, but emphasizing on this factor that pathways will be the only available option 2 years from now. So you need to adapt, you need to adopt, and you need to go for pathways. So we did not wait for the beginning of this term. I think thanks to Raghavan and Thailand, who, forcefully implemented this practice. They kept on saying it is only pathways. And again, leading by example, many of the leaders who have been in district, division, and areas, we also adopted pathways, and we started giving speeches in pathways and also completing paths. Rajesh, for example, he has completed a couple of paths, and many other leaders. So we led by example. We did not simply go and say that you need to do the pathways. Now this year, as we all know, we are left with only pathways. One of the first campaigns that I put forward and floated across the district was to have 100% pathways adoption. We went behind the clubs through areas and divisions and mentioned that, our target is to have 100% members adopting the pathways, because that is the first step to do. If they don't access pathways, they have nothing to do in Toastmasters. I always quote our past international president, distinguished Toastmaster Balraj, who said, if people have nothing to do in Toastmasters regular meetings, they'll eventually leave. So ensure you engage them. So, and that echoed in my mind. So to engage members this term in education was to ensure that they're all into pathways first. Second was to encourage them to give speeches. So the first campaign we floated was, of course, as I said, to ensure 100% pathways. And the divisions took this as a challenge, and they competed each other to ensure that they are on the top. And some of the divisions, they were close to 100% pathways adoption, except 1 or 2. But 2 divisions, I remember, that one division was 100% in terms of membership and the club officers. So that actually helped us not just adopting pathways, but also to give speeches in the pathways. Now, if you look at the dashboard, at one point, District 116 was on top on the adoption of pathways, and this was one reason. The second such campaign was to encourage members to give, or rather complete minimum 1 educational goal in this term, minimum 1 educational goal. And with only pathways left, when this campaign was floated, people had no other option but give speeches in pathways. In between, there have been many trainings given by divisions, and I appreciate some of them. They went into the detail on pathways, including how to log into pathways, how to select your path, how to go through the training that is given in the pathways and access your path, give speeches, select speeches, and all these stuff. So these trainings were also given at division levels, and which attracted many members from our district. So I feel that, one thing I learned from Raghavan especially is not just telling people to do. I used to do this. I used to tell people, okay, you have to have 5 members, or you have to achieve 7 DCP points to be Smedley, and then I used to leave it there. Raghavan used to tell them how to do it, how to achieve, and he used to prepare this fact sheet and gap analysis and tell them this is how you need to do it. And I followed that. Now I used to prepare data where there are gaps, where there are clubs doesn't have members enough adopting the pathways. I used to follow up with those clubs and those areas and those divisions, and I used to give reports every month on the gaps. These many clubs have these many members who have not adopted the path or given the speeches or achieved any educational paths. So that actually had a great impact. And as Thailand said, one of the tools that we use in our district is recognition of members. Every month we used to release flyers. Last week we released the flyers for Triple Crown in the whole district. So many members achieved Triple Crown. Having their name creates an impact. Also the DTMs, also the divisions that achieved so many pathways. So these actually created so much of impact. So if that is followed now, but again, let me tell you, this was not begun this at the beginning of this term. This was actually the legacy that has been left by our predecessors, which I continued. And I'm sure, hopefully, I'll be able to do justice to the role. Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you, Program Quality Director Manzoor Moideen, for those wonderful tips. The key takeaway for me from that whole speech is member engagement. If you ensure our members are engaged in pathways or in whatever the learning experience, we can guarantee the success. And this is not only a best practice at the district level or area level, division level. Each club can adopt this as a best practice and encourage their members, so that each member, when they complete at least one path, level one of a path, that's the starting point. And appreciating them for completing that, recognizing, giving awards. So all this is a good practice that you have already set up and continuing. Thank you, and wishing you all the very best for that, continuing the legacy. Now, let us move on with our Club Growth Director, District 116 Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh VC. Commitment from leaders at all levels is essential to serve our members effectively. Many times, we have come across with leaders taking a position just for the sake of the credit. Now, as the Club Growth Director, how do you ensure the commitment from the area and division directors and club officers in fulfilling the district or club mission? Distinguished Toastmaster Rajesh VC.
Thank you, Regional Advisor Sunil. That's a great question. International Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Aletta Rochat, Regional Advisor Sunil Kotarathan, global leaders, and my dear Toastmasters of Qatar, good evening. Do you all think that after hearing to all the stalwart leaders, do I have anything to speak now? Do you think that they have left out anything to speak? Now I am in such a trouble that I don't know what I should speak. This question is very relevant to all those things. The answer for this question has been answered right from Rajeswar Sundaresan up to Manzoor Moideen. Let me try out something different on this. For me, this commitment is something, technically speaking, it's directly proportional to relationship. People are committed either to a personal relationship or to the organization where they are passionate about. The question here is how to make your relationship personal and how to make that organization passionate for them. These are the two things which come to me when I talk about commitment. When first thing is about personal relationship. For me, everybody in District 116 knows that Rajesh is a person who is available on their fingertip. I don't wear the hat of a director at all. Club Growth Director is for the sake of a name for me. Otherwise, hat is always somewhere. I don't find it in my hands. They know when, at what time they can approach me, and every 24/7, their phone can ring to me. And that's the relationship I've maintained with them. And for me, every leader in district gives the result which is expected out of them. Number one. Number two is how this happens is this relationship is built on basically two things. One is my accessibility. Second thing is being receptive to what they say. I have many opinions in me. Yesterday's meeting, Rajesh already told me Rajesh has a different opinion always. Yes, that I agree with that. But I don't enforce my opinions on people. When I speak as a club growth director, I listen to them. I'm receptive to what all they want, all the opinions that they want. Then I give my own understanding on what it is. And people have accepted it. If people have not accepted it, there would not have been 7 clubs formed in three months or 4 months time. This is one part of it. Second part is clarification on each and every aspect of what role is all about. I always tell people, if you are part of a global organization, you should always think globally, act locally. Don't think locally and act locally. If you are going to think locally and act locally, you don't have to be part of a global organization. You're wasting time. You know everything what you have to do. You are at the present moment. So when we are with Toastmasters, understand what Toastmasters says and act accordingly to the global standard. When we act according to global standard, automatically results will come. And third very important thing is, when I said about defining that roles, many area directors say that I'm supporting club. They don't talk about forming new clubs. Here is where clarification and understanding of the role, which is very, very important. Supporting the club is one aspect of their role. Forming new club is other aspect of the role. They should not mix both the things. If they are doing one thing, it is only 50% of the job what they are doing, and other part they are not doing at all. This is where clarity has to be brought in. Why they should support clubs and why they should form clubs. Forming club is something part of a bigger thought process. It is part of helping a society to transform. That bigger picture, when we put into people's mind, they start thinking about that. Yes, is it so? That's the question they come. Is it so that we are helping a larger part of the society? That makes them to drive to form new clubs. It's not that numbers that we speak on numbers. It is about helping people. And this is how we can get commitment people. When we think about and speak about in a different angle of helping each other and helping people across us, people start giving their commitments to an organization and the leaders who are leading it. But only thing is, we have to be straightforward with a person who is of character and values in front of them. Anytime you are accessible, then he can be a successful leader at any point of time. Thank you so much. Back to Sundar.
Thank you very much, our Club Growth Director, Rajesh VC. I like that. Think globally and act locally. And one wonderful tip I have taken from Rajesh is have clarity on the role. Because we have seen this. Many leaders, they grab only, say, 50% of the role requirement or one portion of the role requirement only and focus on that. Maybe they're comfortable with that, or they don't believe the other side, the benefits of other side. So having the conversation, open conversation, having that creating that friendly relationship, that has really helped a lot, I can see, in Rajesh to achieve success for District 116. Thank you so much. And we have heard now from the 6 pillars of District 116. A lot of tips. I think it was a bit overwhelming. We were flooded with a lot of information. But really, I enjoyed it. I'm sure our members and leaders from other districts who are listening to this will have got a lot of tips from you. And surely, if we implement all those things in a practical way, in each level in their district, by seeing the circumstances, we all can achieve success. We all can reach #1 position together, and we all can celebrate together. This is what we would love to see in our region, in our district, in our everywhere across the world. Lot of success stories. Let us see a lot of success stories. Let us hear a lot of success stories from all over the world, from our members, from our leaders, from every unit in Toastmasters. Thank you so much. And now let me hand over to our MCs, Distinguished Toastmaster Grace and Maud. The screen is yours. You're muted. Grace, I think you're muted. We can't hear you.
Thank you so much, R.A. Sunil. Before I start our second segment, I would like to acknowledge our region advisor, R.A. Sunil's effort for this unique collaboration. He had helped us organize this event. Maud, are you there?
I am indeed.
Okay, can you please tell us about our region advisor, R.A. Sunil? Thereafter, introduce the District 74, 94, and 114 leaders. Maud, the virtual floor is yours.
His home district is District 105. He is currently supporting Districts 74, 94, 114, and 116. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, district leaders, our region advisor for Region 11 in Africa, Sunil Kotaratil. Before we move on to our next segment, at this point, I'd like to warmly introduce all the leaders from the District 74, District 94, as well as District 116. I'll start with District 114, the District Director in District 114, Distinguished Toastmaster Meryl Jabba. Our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Njabulo Taylor. And our Club Growth Director is Joe Gombera. Bonsoir to all the members in District 94. Bonsoir à tous les membres et les leaders au District 94. To our district leader, Madame Aminita Kiita, Distinguished Toastmaster. To our program director, Distinguished Toastmaster Patrick Oluide. And last but certainly not least, our Club Growth Director, Monsieur Gael Aouni Zuni, Distinguished Toastmaster. And over to District 114. Hamjambo to all the members and the district leaders from District 114. Our District Director is Gladys Muyunyo. Our Program Quality Director is Anthony Wangondu. And our Club Growth Director is Gilbert Rutebemberwa. I hope I said that correctly. Those are all the leaders from across District 74, District 94, and District 114. I know there are other leaders on this call who were not mentioned tonight. It would be lovely if you interacted with us in the chat box so that we can get to know you. So please do interact with us in the chat box during the course of this evening. We'd love to hear from you. Back to you, Grace.
Thank you, Maud. Now for a second segment, as I have mentioned, I will be inviting the district leaders, and District 116 will answer your questions accordingly. And I would like to invite District 74 leaders first. Any volunteer? District 74. Oh, is that District 74 Muriel? Muriel? All right. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Grace, and thank you to District 116 for putting on this event for us tonight. There's nothing better than learning from those people who have gone ahead of us in excellence, because there's always something that we can learn. And wow, did you give us so many tips tonight. And I know that the area directors and division directors from District 74 who were able to make this call will have learned a lot from you. I'm just hoping that you're recording it so those who couldn't make it will actually have a chance to get all that information you shared with us. One of the questions I'm always asked by leaders, and would like to know your take on it, and any one of the leaders from District 116 can answer, is what do you do with a club who believes that they're fine and that the way they're doing things is absolutely 100% okay? And they believe that their members are happy, and as a club, they're happy. And yet they haven't been distinguished for a number of years. What do you do in a situation like that?
District 116 leaders who would like to start? Rajesh?
Maybe we can ask Raghavan Menon.
Okay, Raghavan Menon.
Okay. We also have a similar type of clubs in our district. I'm sure it is there all over the world. But all you have to do is, when the club thinks that what program they are running is fine with them, we have to call them, train them, educate them, and then tell them about how the club performance is looked at it. It is not just having fun in a meeting and just chit-chatting and just going away? Are the members getting benefited? Are their education program being implemented in time? Is the pathways being done? People are following, giving speeches as per the project objectives? Are they being evaluated? Are they mentored properly? All these things are in place. Then I'm 100% sure the club will definitely become distinguished, because new members are added, because the DCP scheme, everyone knows, new members are added, 4 new members, you get 1 DCP, another 4. So 8 members added. Are the club adding, attracting new members? That is the first question to be asked. If not, we have to ensure that they do it regularly. And are they doing pathway speeches as per the timetable of the, whatever the program guidelines? And if they do it regularly, they will achieve different levels by earning DCP points. So all this put together, and then all of them attending club officer training, which is not a big deal. Sending list to Toastmaster International club officers list, that is also not a big deal. And then payment, making payment in time, again, that is a doable thing. So all these things in place, there is no question. I don't think there is any reason why the club shouldn't become distinguished. It's not complicated at all. Earning 5 DCP points, I must say that every club in the world can do it. Every club in the world. It is not a difficult task at all. 5 DCP points. To move up from 5 to 7 or 7 to 9, maybe you need some extra push and effort. But 5, there's no excuse for any club not to get that 5 DCP points and 20 members. I think that has to be a minimum qualifying level, which I think the area director will have a big role to play in this case, because that is where area director is the one who is in direct contact with the clubs, and also he or she is in direct contact with the district as well. So he or she will be the key factor, key player to make or break the club. So I think you have to ensure that the area directors are more responsive and responsible to such clubs. And those clubs, we classify them as clubs needing support. And in our district, what we do is we give special focus for such clubs. We leave alone the clubs which are performing on their own. We don't do anything. The clubs do it on their own. But our focus is always on the weak clubs and the clubs needing support. These are the 2 categories we have on the lower end. So focus on them, classify all the clubs and focus on them. I think that will definitely yield results. That's how we have done it.
Thank you so much, IPDD Raghavan Menon. May we ask District 74 Program Quality Director to ask the question?
Good evening, Grace. Unfortunately, our Program Quality Director could not be with us tonight, so we will gladly move on to our Club Growth Director. Back to you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Maud. You guys are doing a fantastic job. And thank you, everyone, for being part of this call. Learning a lot from the interactions and from the nuggets of wisdom. My question will be, as a leader, how do you deal with a fellow leader who openly declares that for this year, I'm just going to do the bare minimum? I'm not concerned about starting new clubs, because already we've got clubs that are struggling, and they'll rather focus on defending those clubs. But from experience, what I've seen is someone who is busy defending the clubs, come June next year, they lose 1 or 2 clubs, and they end the year worse off than they started. So how do you inspire such a leader to have a different mindset, or to shift their mindset and be hooked onto the district mission? Thank you.
I think our CGD Rajesh has answered it partially, but let us hear a different viewpoint, maybe from our immediate past CGD or PQD, Manzoor Moideen this time.
Thank you, Sunil. Joel, you are not alone. Every district has similar leaders. And just before, the speaker before us, our immediate past district director Raghavan Menon said, you cannot expect everyone to perform the same way. Now, if you recall what Thayar and our district director mentioned, when he was a CGD, we had 4 divisions. And one of the divisions, in fact, he was very adamant saying that I'm not going to do anything further in our division. But as a district leader, we couldn't just let it go. So he focused on Rajesh, who was one of the division director, and because he knew that, he'll get the maximum out of the person who is more active, who is more committed, who can change the things. He did that. But that's about building the clubs. Now you mentioned about losing the clubs. Now that is a danger for district and divisions. We cannot afford to lose the club because it's not just about numbers. As a leader, we fail to perform when you lose clubs. But it happens. Still, one of the practice that we have in our district is, when we find few division directors and area directors, we cannot enforce rules on them. We're all human beings. We have our commitments. We cannot tell them, you have to do this. It's a voluntary responsibility. But there, what we did was, like, I'll tell you, a couple of area directors last year were sabbatical throughout. And what we decided was we picked their PQD and got the things done through them. Similarly, one of the divisions, when they had issues, we had the PQD to get the things done. Now, when these people take a backseat, the leader that you said, take a backseat and say, I'm not going to do things. But if you get the things done through the PQD, I don't think he or she will stop us doing it, because now we have a district mission to accomplish. That's to build new clubs and make sure all the clubs are distinguished. So they're not going to stop that. So this is one thing that you could do. So it's not that directly you go to the PQD or the substitute, try to talk to them, make them understand it's a district mission, you are a district leader, and we all have that responsibility at area levels. Now, Raghavan just repeated those words. This was mentioned by, again, a past international president, distinguished Toastmaster Balraj, who said area directors are those who can make or break the district. They did not mention clubs, area, or division. They said they can even make or break the district. So it starts from the area directors as the district officers, then about to division and district officers. You cannot expect everyone to be the same. Try to be friendly with them, try to advise them, try to motivate them, persuade them. If still they don't follow what they're supposed to do, go to the next level and ensure this is done. That's what I would say from our experience. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sunil,
if you have, with your permission, I would like to add 1 or 2 points here, right? Is it okay?
Go ahead. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
Because this is one of the very, very important topic what Joel has brought up. When we started as a new district, we were encountered with the club that was already dead. Means club was there for the namesake, but there is no members who are interested to continue, and no EXCOM is wanted to take the charge. So it was continuing like that. We were pushing through division area everywhere to put the things through. But after October renewal, not a single member was there in the club, and not a single EXCOM is active. So that means that if a club was literally dead, nothing was there. But still, we did not lose our hope. We were continuously working on that. If areas were working, division were working, finally district also we involved. And one good thing in our structure is every division and areas also, they have one assistant directors responsibility for the club growth. So they also put their effort. Finally, what we did is we went to there. It was actually a little far away from our place. We all went there and had a meeting with them. Believe me, and one of the person, the division, there was a person responsible for the retention. That unfortunately she's not here. She was part of this group. Our current division director, DTM Sabina, she made an effort to call each and every member of that club. Why you are not able to continue? What was your problem now? Every member she used to. It was a ladies' club. It was a ladies' club. Then finally, who are the people interested? We gathered them for a meeting. That time we had only 7 people. They said, we are willing to join the club. If you can revive this club, we'll be there. So then we had to motivate and persuade them to take the leadership positions. And we started with, I think, if my memory is not correct, around 4 leadership positions only we were able to fill out of that 7 people. Right? We started that. From there, that journey started. Believe me, it happened 2 years back. Then they came up, and that year itself, we ensured that club was distinguished. And last year, they were President Distinguished Club with 10 DCB points. This year also, they are marching very, very strong. Why I'm saying this story is, a club is not dead until we lose hope. As a leaders, we have to keep all our efforts done. Then only we have to leave it. Until that time, we can still work on that. Back to you, Sunil.
Thank you so much, PQD Manzoor and District Director Tayalan K. And may we proceed now with the next district, R.A. Sunil. All right. Okay, I would like to invite District 94, District Director. Are you around?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Grace. So it has been a very nice evening, many learning points that I can't wait to share with my team. Many of them are here connected. I hope they are having fun and they are learning a lot like me. So, you know, District 116, as I'm telling you, we are the next first in the world. So we are listening and we are learning. So we have many questions, but now I'll ask you, can I ask 2 questions at the same time? Then they can have views on the 2 questions. So one question is about corporate clubs. Corporate clubs are a tough issue for us these days. I mean, you know, we are creating corporate clubs, but how to sustain them? Most of the time, you open clubs in banks, insurance, and they are very busy. So at some point, they don't take Toastmasters as seriously as they should. Whereas it's important to them, right? So when you come explain to them, they accept and they create the club. But then afterwards, how do we sustain those corporate clubs, right? How do we make them understand that that 1 hour Toastmaster meeting is very important and they can fit in somewhere? And second question is about the resources we have in our districts. You know, we have a lot of resources. Past district leaders or past club leaders, past area leaders, division leaders. You see, we have only 3 positions at the trio level. So before that, some people after the club level, they don't go up. So they, you know, they stay there. And then if they don't continue with their learning program, they will not contribute very much to Toastmasters, whereas they are very good leaders. How do we use that force of leaders that we have? Because many people, especially those who did the traditional program, they are not involved anymore. What can we do to get that force involved in our work still? Thank you very much.
May I ask past District Director Rajeswar Sundar to answer the question?
I think corporate clubs let Tayalan or Manzoor take. In fact, we don't have much of a problem with corporate club. But Tayalan, would you like to try this corporate club?
Yes, sir. Actually, for the corporate clubs, 2 things we have to do. One is when we started the corporate club, we have to take the people. First is we have to see how many members in the corporate first. So, for example, if a corporate, they are starting a club for office people and you have only 30-35 office staff, then you start a new club, the sustainability itself is a question there. Because we have to have a 20 people, that challenges may be there. Okay, that is one. Second one is, when I was a CGD, I always tried to promote and push the idea to the corporates, saying that when you start a new club, keep some external people also, outside members also be part of your corporate club. So they, especially your mentors and sponsors and some of the area directors, division directors, put them also as a members of that club to have a variety, right? Otherwise, what is going to happen is they are going to see the same faces again and again. That interest will not be there. So this is one suggestion I used to do it, and we in fact succeeded that. That is number. Second one, another proposition was, instead of having the meeting in the club of corporate environment itself, why not you have the meeting outside? Now, of course, because of the pandemic, you cannot have it. But the reason is, if you are having the meeting in the office, what is going to happen is somebody is having a work at the office. They will say, I will finish this mail and come. I will attend this call and come. So their focus and attention is not in the meeting, but on the office job. And suddenly halfway through the meeting, they will get out. No? Because of that, when I started the corporate club for my company, I spoke to the directors and I said, okay, let us have the meeting in a hotel where they have a different atmosphere and nobody is there to disturb them. So these two things we did it. And also from the company's point of view, we have to make it as one of the KPIs if possible. If the corporate is really understanding the importance of this communication, that HR team, learning and development team, they can work together to make this as one of the KPIs where when they get something, they can really get extra benefit for that. That is another point. And the fourth and last point from my side is some kind of recognition. When some members is achieving something in the Toastmasters program, inside internal communication, so mail, if they can take a congratulations for so-and-so for achieving this award, that motivates the people, even that will bring more people into the club. That's what I feel on the corporate clubs. Back to you, PDD Rajesh.
Thank you, Tayalan. In fact, for doing such a great work, I even bought a book from Toastmasters International and gifted to Tayalan. I wanted to know whether he read it, and he gave a good presentation. I still remember about Corporate Club. It was a book by Pat Johnson. Those who like to know about how to look at the corporate club with different perspective, you can read that book from DTM Pat Johnson, past international president. About resources on of past district, past leaders. This is one of the things even Toastmasters International recommends every district to take it up. Make use of the past leaders so that, they first thing, they sustain their interest. Second, it is important to take their, knowledge and experience. When you get into, like, for example, today, nobody expected pandemic and work from home situation, virtual meetings, all that. So these are the times when, some of the past leaders are available because they don't want to probably come to a hotel or attend a meeting, but they will be willing to do it. Another important thing is like pathways. Many of them had left taking educational credit after they achieved DTM. Now pathways has rekindled their interest now. It's a good time to bring them back and get them into action. And it needs, you have to give that due importance, make them to come out with maybe some keynote, or not just as a general evaluator. What happened, even many people call me as a general evaluator. I tell them other than general evaluator. Because there will be stereotyped, past leaders that stereotyped into a general evaluator role. So make them, give them something different, ask them to speak, ask them to interact in a special situation. When the whole district went through this pandemic and work from home, we got many of our past district leaders into an advisory role, and they came out and gave some good words of wisdom. And that gets sold with new members and senior members and all. And this is a resource which Toastmasters International also advises district to tap on and nurture and make use of. Over to you. Back to you, Grace.
Thank you so much, past District Director Rajeswar and District Director Tayalan K. Before I will proceed I would invite the next leader. I would just want to say that to district leaders, for the next question, if you'd like to add on something that can help, please feel free to speak up after I call someone to answer the next question. So please feel free, just to jump in and just say something if it's really important that could help. Now, I would like to call the...
Okay, then Grace, let me add one point to this.
Yes, please do. Please go ahead.
Point which Aminta said. What I can tell you, leaders, the corporate clubs will survive only if the employees of the corporate club realize the importance of Toastmasters for them. Just for namesake, you want to start a club in corporate, for first year, the enthusiasm could be there, then it may die down. So what you can do is, that point District Director Tayalan mentioned, always try to connect with HR. Their professional development. We have a club in Qatar, in a bank. That club, when it started, during the discussion with their HR director, the point which came up was, every year, the bank's requirement is their employees, each and every employee undergoes 50 hours of professional development program. That could be a paid program in a institute like a British Council or anywhere, or even Toastmasters program, they consider to be equivalent to that. That motivated a lot of people to join Toastmasters because it is part of their working hours. They can kind of come and attend the training. That is one program. That is one thing. And second is that helps them without paying any extra money. It's a training program which is HR considers to be part of their professional development. So that really helped. And I still remember one of the members of the bank, the first meeting when we did, the demo meeting we did, he came and told me, he confessed to me, he's a branch manager, but he said, my presentation skill, he's a local Arabic speaking person. So my presentation skill in English is very bad. And he says, last week when that email came to me, to his mailbox saying that they are starting a Toastmasters club for improving the public speaking. You know what he said? I was telling to myself, this mail has come from God, So it is like a blessing. He thought it's like such a blessing it came. And he was so thankful to the HR department for initiating this. This feeling, if it is there with every member, the club will thrive. If someone forces on them to do it, it will not. So that is what you have to keep in. Find out the opportunities, connect it with the HR department, and then make that corporate, club moving. Back to you, Grace.
And also top management support.
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to invite the District 94 Club Growth Program Quality Director to ask the question if you are around. District 94 Program Quality Director. All right, maybe he or she is not around. Maybe call on the District 94 Club Growth Director. District 94 Club Growth Director. All right.
Yeah, Gail, he's.
They seem to be connected, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll come back on Gail when he's available. Yeah.
All right. So let's move to District 114. May we invite District Director, District 114, to ask the question?
Yes, thank you so much. I can't believe this is a world of wealth of knowledge, especially for a young district. We remember really celebrating 11C, dropping the P, and we wanted to pick the P. And finally, we dropped the P for 112 to pick, 122 to pick. I also have two questions, and one is one that has been partly answered, but I really want clarity on how to mentor and support aspiring district leaders. We're a very young district. We are struggling to grow, but you still have that gap of, yes, people have picked up leadership and they're not sure how do we mentor and support them? We only have 2 past district directors and that support team is quite stretched. We have a lot of support from our RAs. I just want to know whether there's a specific formula we can use. My second one is, by the time we got into pathways, the pathways guide and ambassadors were finishing their term. We were undistricted when it happened. So the struggle we have now is getting as many people as possible in a district in the pathways mentoring program, but it has no credit. So we actually have a lot of people being mentored on pathways by non-mentors. How do we get ourselves to leverage on pathways mentorship when we don't have pathways guides and pathways ambassadors? And this pathways mentoring program is not very attractive to a lot of people because it doesn't have credit. Thank you. To you, Grace.
Thank you so much for your question. Club Growth Director Rajesh VC, would you like to answer this?
I will answer the first part of the question. What is that for the new leaders? When people take up leadership, they may not be knowing what it is for them. There are many area directors who take up that role without even knowing what's the benefit of taking up area director. And when they understand the roles and responsibilities, then they end up not performing, understanding again that it not be useful for them. That is where division directors and district leaders come into place. What is that bigger picture for area director to take up that role? What is that he is learning out of that role? That we need to tell him in a very, very specific things. 1, 2, 3, like that. If you ask me as an area director, Rajesh, what did you learn out of that role? I was an employee till the time I was an area director. And once I finished the role of an area director, I became an entrepreneur. What motivated me to become an entrepreneur is when I can form clubs, why don't I form a company? When I can nurture a club for nothing and no reason. Why should I nurture a club? No reason. I'm not getting any financial benefit out of it. People run towards financial benefit. Then why don't you form a company and sustain it? So many people around you will be engaged and their families are entertained of it. So what is that bigger picture you can show to area directors and division directors? That is where as a leader, you can make them, you can motivate them or inspire them. Motivation is very difficult. You can inspire them. For that inspiration, those who take up leadership, they should be an exemplary one doing something great. Are they engaged with this program? Division directors and the district directors, who it is, are they engaged with this program? Are they giving speeches? When they give speeches, they automatically think about it. Why is he giving speech being a district director or a PQD or a CGD? What's important for him? People follow the leader. And what happened, one instance in this year, what happened is 2 lady area directors. They had problems with personal problems. I told you build relationship, right? Previously. That is when I understood that area director has personal problems to go with the commitment of that job, to do the role of an area director. She was not able to engage with the system. The problem is that she is having a bigger kid and that kid is studying. She has to divert her time. And she did not know when she was taking that area director role, how she could do it. The moment I told that I would help you, and every week I started calling her, do you want any help from my side? What is the help she might may require? To drop the kid to the tuition, right? Nothing else. She is not going to teach the kid sitting next to him. She wanted a person who could drop her kids to somewhere for the tuition or some physical help, that type of help. At the moment I started calling that lady, do you want any help? Every week I started calling, do you want any help? I did not ask her, are you forming club? Are you doing an area director's role? I did not ask this. I just asked her, do you want any help? She was the lady who formed a club which is very, very difficult to be formed. See the response from people, the way how you take up leadership. If then when as a leader, if we take that leadership as symbol of authority, then it is very difficult to do leadership in service leadership role. Simple thing is showing a bigger picture to people. What they understood now is making a club, what they get is they become one of the president distinguished area director. It's a privilege. You should tell people that what's the privilege of being a president distinguished area director. What they get out of it. When I was an area director, I lost the president distinguished area director because I gave my club to some other area because that area was going to shut down. Nobody taught me that, Rajesh, if you give this club to some other area, you will not become a president distinguished area director. Nobody taught me that time. But I was doing it out of passion. I never thought that president district, that time district was of 7 countries. And that was a great privilege to be a president district area and the best area director. So showing a bigger picture to people, what they get out of that role. Second thing is, what is that personal benefit they get out of it? Third thing is, what are the skills they are going to learn out of it? And listening to club presidents and I think all the president club ExCom are of a higher stature people. And when we interact with people, itself is a bunch of knowledge what we get. That itself is a great thing for an area director to learn and take away. And these are the bigger pictures what we should tell them. This is what you get out of it. And human resource is the biggest, greatest asset in the world. Interacting with good human resource itself is a great thing from where you can get that other than in Toastmasters. Right? Back to you.
Thank you, Club Growth Director Rajesh VC.
I'll take the second pathways question, pathways guides.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. The simple solution is right now you have shortage of people, the pathways guides and ambassadors who can train your members, right? That's the problem. We can train you. From District 116, we can train you. So Zoom it's available. We don't have to come to your country to do it. We can do it. Number two solution is, even if you want to develop your own in-house resources from your own district, okay, TI's offer of equivalent to district leadership, that particular benefit is no more there. That is true. But instead, why don't you as a district director announce some benefits, some awards, some medals, some trophies to the people who come forward as the pathways guides and ambassadors? Motivate them. So I'm sure that a lot of people will come forward from your own district. But our offer to train your people is still on. That is also there available. Hope your problem is solved.
Oh yes, starting tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's great news for all the districts that we are here tonight. So now for our next question for Program Quality Director of District 114. Are you around?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am, Grace.
Yes, please do. Please go ahead.
Good. I was quite impressed to hear some of the things that you're doing, particularly some of the things that were shared by Manzoor about going directly to the member. And one of the things I would like to just find out from your team is, how do you manage any fallout from your division directors and area directors when TRIO and the TRIO's committee is going directly to members to ensure that things are done? I mean, I can see the logic of doing it, and many times I think that's what I should do myself. But how do you manage the fallout from area directors and division directors who feel that you're sort of exceeding your your authority and undercutting their powers, so to speak?
Anyone else would like to answer that? District leaders, District 116?
I would say Raghavan is an expert in this area. I would request Raghavan to do.
All right, then.
I have no problem answering this.
Please.
What I can tell you is, as I said earlier in my initial talk, I said, address to the action point. That's what I believe. If hierarchy is to be followed and that is the practice in your district, you may not succeed always. Okay, for namesake, hierarchy can be kept, and then you follow that. You can, end of the year, you can be satisfied that you followed the hierarchy or the guidelines, but the result may not be as what you wanted. So what you do is, where the action is there, address to them with the CC to the area director, division director, etc. So I don't think there will be a problem. But before doing it, talk to them, take them into confidence. This is what I'm going to do for making your life easy. So tell to the area director or division director whom you think can create a conflict or a problem, take them into confidence and tell them that I'm doing this only for making your life easy, which the moment you say that and they hear it, I'm sure they'll be happy that, you are his well-wisher. It's not that you are not trying to undercut him or bypass him. You are only trying to make his life easy. At the same time, your ultimate aim should be the success of the district. So every club, unless they perform well, the district cannot perform well. District is nothing but just a framework of few leaders. The action has to happen at the clubs. So that you should keep in mind, irrespective of what one person may like it or not like it. You can always take him into confidence and go ahead and implement it. Don't ever, stop doing it. That's what my suggestion will be. How practical it is for you, I don't know, but this is what I would recommend.
Yeah, thank you, Raghavan, because we also have to balance it with what's the word I can use, the politics around leaders. So that's good advice. Thank you very much. Anthony,
if I may add, see, not every time that, I go and tell these area directors or division directors, telling them that I'm going to your club members, but I check who is not forwarding the messages or doing what they're supposed to do. And I pick those clubs and I talk to their VP education or the club presidents. It's not that we are hiding something. Plus, we also have, as the PQD, I have a WhatsApp group where I've added all the VP educations of the 91 clubs in our district. So any information is important that should reach the VP education, I make sure it's posted there. And I also post in the other group. So the division directors and area directors feels that, okay, we are being addressed, and at the same time it reaches. But I have got the consent. There's one more thing. Before forming this VP education group, I requested all the division directors, not requested, I said, I'm going to form this one for a certain reason, because that's been successful in the past couple of terms. Thailand and Raghavan followed this one. So they didn't say no to me. So ensuring that the messages is reaching the members. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Manzoor.
Anyone else would like to add? If no one else, then I'd like to go back to district. Rajesh, are you raising your hand? You'd like to add something? All right. Okay, then if nothing else, then I would like to go back to district 94 if the leaders are back, because they were not here earlier on. If not, any representative or volunteer from district 94?
Grace, I think district 114 CGD is there, right?
District, sorry?
District 114 CGD is there, Gilbert is there.
All right, okay. All right then. Okay, may we invite the club growth director of district 114?
Yeah, thank you very much. My sincere apologies. I joined a bit late due to official commitment. And I would like to appreciate the leaders of District 116 for that kind gesture of sharing your knowledge, your experience, and best practice with us for the better of the region. Most of the questions surrounding club growth have been raised and were attended to. I just want to point out that I was just amazed at how easy you make subscription renewals look like. I don't know the magic you use, but while we were busy struggling to get even the minimum 8 people per club to subscribe, your numbers were up in the sky. What's the magic?
Anyone would like to answer that question?
Rajesh to answer this.
Rajesh, back to you, Rajesh again.
Thank you, Gilbert. That's a difficult question to answer. There are two things in that. One is how passionate people are there and how they understand the program. A series of programs which has been conducted by the district. We have brought in leaders, past district leaders, past presidents, and world champion of public speaking winners. And all those people have been engaged by seeing these programs, and they understood the value of the program, Toastmasters program. When they understood the value of the program, there are 60 to 70% people who wanted to renew on their own. They wanted to be with the program. They wanted to engage with the program. The balance 30% is everywhere there's a problem with that balance 30%. For that, we need to work on, and we started that work in the initial stage itself. It's not because Rajesh as a person did something. It is because all the district leaders, past district leader, Rajesh Sundaresan, that was his brainchild of bringing in speakers from different parts of the country to train people during pandemics. And when nobody was knowing anything, we were being trained by these people. And the same legacy was continued later on. And these things added value to the district and members. They understand that, yes, there is some value in Toastmasters program, even if there is pandemics or something else. District, they will do something and they keep members engaged. They are very sure in that. That's what I think.
Anyone else would like to add to it? Okay, if no one else would like to add to it, then I would like
to just add one more thing.
Yes, please go ahead.
It's important that district leaders keep tab of the dashboards, district dashboard, to understand the progress of the members, progress of the club meeting, members' education status, the active membership, all that they should keep a tab. It's now the dashboard is extremely versatile. It can give any type of information for any type of analytics. So if you have somebody, if you have a statistician in your district who's a Toastmaster, make use of his help and do that analytics to understand the real sense of what is happening in the ground. Sometimes figures will tell you what problem you will never think about it. It will make you think. It is something like trigger for action. So if you're high on detail, high on data, high on analytics, it could be a fast learning method rather than learning to coming to know those information much later through some third-party resources and all that. So have some analytics constantly done by someone who is fancy with numbers and who can say what numbers speaks. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Now, can I go back to District 94 for the questions? If the program quality director or the club growth director, if they're not around, any volunteer from District 94 to ask the question?
I hope there is, otherwise I have more questions.
Oh, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Anybody from District 94? I can see them connected. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Some of them are not at district level yet. So one of them told me that it is very high level for her. She sent me a message.
Don't be shy.
Okay.
In Toastmasters, we're just like family. So please go ahead and feel free to ask the question. I can see there's a lot of District 94 members.
Any question? ADs? Okay. So my question will be this one. You know, we're having more and more, let's say, leaders. Before, in our district, people were kind of afraid to take on roles. But these days, it looks like people want to take on roles so much. There are a lot of competition around clubs. It's a good thing, but at least, you know, because we have a good base of leaders. But my concern is about the quality of leaders, actually, the quality. So people want to become DTMs now more and more, but many of them don't have, when you listen to them, you know, it doesn't feel like a DTM is speaking. When I say DTM, like somebody who has done many, many, many projects and that is speaking to you, it means they are just, you know, moving forward with the program without sustaining the quality. Whereas Toastmaster also, when you see a Toastmaster speak, you need, and they tell you it's a Toastmaster, you should not be surprised, you see? So how do we sustain this quality? It's a big concern for me, leadership-wise and also communication-wise. We are recruiting a lot of people, but the quality is not being sustained. How do we deal with that? People go to different clubs for their speeches. You know, before there was something in Toastmaster where you could only do 2 speeches outside of your club, but now it's not the case. So the leader can do a speech in this club and with Zoom, go to Qatar, do a speech there, and then go to France, go everywhere. So there is not, the VP education is not following. We don't see how he's improving, but he is, you know, adding up awards. So it's a concern to me. How do we did you have these kind of issues, and what are your suggestions to solve this issue?
Anyone would like to take this question?
Manzoor.
Manzoor.
Actually, I'm in some trouble now. You know, I'm in my office and these people are switching off the lights. I'm trying to coordinate with them.
All right.
So I
They're not locked you, no? They're not locked you up. That's okay.
No. I went and checked in between, so I couldn't get the question completely. Sorry for that. I'm trying to.
Shall I answer the question?
Yeah, please.
Quality is a subjective term, right? You cannot measure the quality with any aspect. Toastmasters is the only organization where illiterates and doctorates come together and stand and speak. And illiterate has an opportunity to evaluate the speech of a doctorate. And when you evaluate a speech of an illiterate and a doctorate, on what basis can we evaluate it? So quality is a subjective terms, number one. Number two thing is, I as a club growth director, if a person giving speech, his quality of speech is less or low, how is it affecting my personal thing? That is his personal thing which has been affected. That person will automatically get an evaluation from an evaluator saying that this speech has to be improved. Next time he comes with a different aspect. If somebody who is not at all serious about Toastmasters program, he just wants to be in Toastmasters giving speeches, we cannot do anything with that person. Neither Toastmasters policy say anything about it. It is up to the individual how we want to pursue it, right? So we, rather than looking at into other people's quality, whether that is a quality speech or not, every person has a say on other speech. I would suggest to leave that thing as it is. Let the evaluator take his role and do his part on that part. Let the every person has a different goals and ambitions. We don't know what's the goals and ambition of an individual. Based on his goals and ambition, some people follow a shortcut method to reach there. Some people follow all the process and reach there. So the attitude problem, it is very difficult to teach people. Technical problems we can teach people. So what is that problem is we need to identify and leave that problem to himself. If we go into deep detail into it, we will be in trouble. People may face shortage members in the clubs. Once members become shortage in the club, Toastmaster program will not run. We can speak about quality for hours. There is no end result for that. It is just a matter of subjective term we can speak. I would always suggest, whichever club I go, I tell people, this is a laboratory. You come, test. It's not required that every time you prepare a speech and come. There may be in your life, sometimes you get an opportunity to speak off the front. At that point in time, you find for a notes and go back to your office and prepare for 3 hours and come back. Then what's the use of making all this Toastmasters program? So we need to encourage people to come up, let them take a risk and do something. Let them prepare for themselves for the future. It's not that every time we look at quality and do things. Let us leave the quality to the individual on what quality you want to maintain. Let us focus on things which makes the club better. Toastmaster organization as a whole better. Spread the program of Toastmasters to complete society so that quality people comes in, he will automatically become a qualitative person. When there are 50 quality people, I cannot give a speech where there is no quality. I give 3 types of different speeches. I go to a club where it's purely a community. There I speak in completely a different manner. When I go to Doha Advanced Club, I don't speak the way I speak in Mind Tunes Toastmasters Club. There my speech is entirely different. When I go to Qatar Toastmaster Club, there I speak in a different way. So quality is defined based on the surrounding of where we are. If I maintain the same quality somewhere where those people are not there, I am off the board. I cannot do anything. They don't even consider me in that group. So it's up to the individual what quality he wants to maintain. It's better to leave that quality to the individual. Let him see the surrounding environment and learn quality from them. That adds value, I believe. It's my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with Toastmasters policies, protocols or something. It's purely my personal opinion. I take the responsibility for that answer.
Very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's the end of our second segment of panel discussion. And before we go to the third segment, I just want to say thank you, District 74, 94, and 114 for all your questions. I hope District 116 managed to answer your questions to your satisfaction. If not, please feel free to send us a message and we will gladly assist you. We are here for this campaign, serving beyond the borders. And we are here to serve you and not just our district. Now I would like to call the energetic District 74 Public Relations, Maud, for the third segment. Maud, the virtual floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Grace. It was such an honor hearing from all our leaders across Region 11 about their challenges, and of course, hearing from District 116 on possible solutions to the challenges that we've been experiencing. One thing I appreciated about what our past district director from 116 said, that whilst we're speaking about best practices, this is just a framework that we can use and tailor it based on the environment that our districts find themselves in. So thank you very much to District 116 for all the efforts thus far. At this point, we're going to hand over the control to you, the audience, for you to tell us or ask us any questions that you may have for any of the district leaders on this call. So please do raise your hand or use the raise hand signal, and I will definitely acknowledge you and ask you to unmute yourself and ask your question to any of the district leaders. But before that, I have a question for each of you, Region 11. what would an event be like without a photo session? I'm going to humbly ask that all leaders at this point, please turn on their cameras so that we can capture this moment for our social media. And Grace, I'm going to ask you
idea.
So that we
Everyone,
can capture this moment.
please open your video and so that we can take the photo. I've been wanting to say this, but just waiting for the right moment. So thank you, Maud. Everyone, please open your video so that. Is that it? Okay. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Okay, one more. 1, 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm now going to have a look at the chat box. I'm not sure if there are any questions from any of the participants. Please, I see some hands up and both are from District 74. So maybe I will start with our finance manager from District 74, Jasmine Hecht. Jasmine, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question to any of the leaders on this call? Over to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Maud. And also a big thank you to the leaders from the 116 district, sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with us. I learned a lot. My question is, I think this was the second speaker, unfortunately, it didn't write down who it was, said he wants to include and have more participation for members. How did you do that?
I can't remember which speaker came second. I think it was the immediate past district director from District 116.
I don't know what it was. He said, change the mindset of members and make sure that they participate.
I'll tell you now, I was taking down a few
Manzoor, you
notes.
mentioned that, I believe.
Yes.
You mean engaging the members is what you're talking about.
It was the past district director. It was the first district leader. Can't remember the. Yes.
Rajeswar.
Make a mindset shift.
What are the question? I couldn't get it.
The question was, how did you change the mindset of your members? What did you do?
Okay, I did mention that. Yes, I forgot myself.
Yes.
Yeah. See, sometime like when we became like you are also 114 is also this relatively new district. When we formed the new district not as a reformation process, it came as all of a sudden just a couple of months before the year started, new year started. So the mindset of the members was we are still a division, not a district. So, we needed to really bring them. So many of them were disappointed that we have become district too early, or we are not ready, or we are not up to it, or we are getting cut off from something, a big district, because we used to see even district director once in a year or twice a year when they come for our division conference or something like that. So even district officers were hardly ever visited our place. So we were not used to seeing those people, district officials and all that. So we had to create that change in the mindset that we have become a district. We did three things. One is we upsized all the programs. Earlier we used to do the area contest or division contest in a school or in a smaller places, locations. We started making it from area contest onwards in the 5-star hotels. We also had a lot of posters coming in, leadership opportunities. We publicized a lot of such activities to get the members buying that we are a district, there are a lot of opportunity, everyone benefit out of it, and a lot of positive messages like that. So that is how we could change the mindset and get the buying from the members at large.
Thank you so much to you, past district directors Sundar and Rajeswar, for your input.
That's a good idea.
Thank you so much. I'm now going to give an opportunity to Area Director from B5 all the way from District 114, Jenny Mule. Jenny, over to you. Please unmute yourself and you can ask your question to any of the district leaders. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mood. My name is Jenny Mule. Yes, all the way from District 114. And thank you very much. And let me first say that you all have my deepest respect as leaders in your districts, starting, of course, with my own trio who are here. And thank you, Gladys, for the invitation. So my question is this. I'm an area director in District 114. When I applied to be an area director, I really didn't quite understand what it entailed. Then I became area director, started to understand my roles, and it was somehow exciting. I mean, for me, service to the people is exciting. And then, of course, 1 month, 2 months, and then I started thinking, oh, no, this is simply too much. I mean, nobody told me it was so much work, and it's taking a lot of my efforts. And then sometimes I started having the thoughts of, I cannot wait for June 30th when I drop this, albeit after enjoying, but I'm dying to drop it. Then again, I talked to more leaders, talked to Gladys, and I'm like, no, wait a minute. I'd like to grow more, just like I've had all of you say, you've been area directors, division directors, and one of the trios and district directors. And then I think to myself, and I'm like, why not? But now the question is, and maybe it's from my own trio, but wanting to hear how the other districts have handled it. How do you handle when area directors, if we start at that level, if area directors want to perfect their being area directors, like, I feel I've come short in so many areas. So I'd want to do this again to perfect it. But yet you're going to have new Toastmasters who want to be area directors. I mean, there can only be 18 in my district. And then maybe I think, okay, maybe I can be a division director. But that's still, they're only about what, 6, 7? There'll be many of us probably who will want to be division director. So how do you handle that? How do you divide this pie and give those who want 1 chance and those who want 2 chances? Thank you. And I don't know who the question is to. Thank you.
Very, very interesting question there, Jenny. I think you're probably in the minority wanting to serve a 2nd term. Please go ahead and do so. I'm not sure which of the district leaders this would be appropriate to. I see our IPDD from District 116 smiling. District Leader Raghavan, maybe I can give you this one. Over to you.
Okay. As I understand, the question is talking about the problem of plenty, right? The problem of plenty is always welcome. In Toastmasters is the place where leaders are made. So if there are more leaders competing for area directorship or division directorship, it's a good sign. Because I found in the other district, 114, was it 114? They are finding no leaders to take up the position. So this should be welcomed. Now, how this can be solved, this issue, is something which Toastmasters is very clearly defined. There is a process called election. In the election process, each one, whoever is interested, will nominate themselves. There will be a leadership committee who will interview you, and they will nominate you as a nominated candidate, and the members will vote. The club's president, VP will vote for you, and you become a district leader. So that's a process which is there. Area director election is a different pattern. So this is very clear. So nothing to be worried. And if you are a area director who initially found it to be difficult, but then later on, I think you are now doing well. So you don't have to be worried. If you perform well, and you will be definitely become a district leader. The ladder is very, very clear. The upward growth is available, and you can go up. And sometimes you mentioned about the difficulty of becoming an area director. You did not know that this is so much of work. What I tell to the area directors is, area director's job is very, very simple. All you have to do is 2 times in a year, you have to visit all the clubs, only 2 times in a year. The more, the better, but minimum 2 times in a year. Then you have to conduct end of the year, you have to conduct an area contest. And the third and the most important thing is start a new club. That's it. So is that so much of work? It's nothing. That I personally feel that it's definitely not a difficult task at all as an area director. But as I find, initially you are found it difficult, but now you are enjoying the job. So go ahead. And I would like to see you sometime soon as a division director as well as a district director soon. Good luck.
You heard it from the IPDD's mouth, Jenny. Good luck as you pursue your dream of being a division director. Thank you very much for your insights, IPDD Raghavan Menon. I saw a question from District 74. He's listed himself as member Frank Zuro, trying to go incognito, but he is actually a past district director, distinguished Toastmaster Frank Zuro. I'm going to ask that you please unmute yourself and ask your question at this point. Over to you, Frank.
Thank you very much, Madam PRM. Good evening, everyone. I would actually like to piggyback on some questions that Didier, Minata, and Gladys were asking, and almost ask what you guys as District 116 are thinking going into the future as scalable habits and structures that you are planning to adopt when maybe, say, the current run, sometimes after a run of success, things can slow down a bit, or when more competition starts coming through, which can affect the quality, even though I know someone said the quality can be subjective. What are some of the scalable habits and structures that you're planning to use? Because I know even calling clubs, I know that was very possible when I started as club growth director, but as the district grew, it just became more and more difficult and unsustainable for us to manage that. So what anyone from District 116, I'd love to pick into your brain going into the future. And hopefully this will secure #1 back in Africa once we know what you're thinking about the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Our strategy questions are answered by Rajeswar. So I request Rajeswar to answer this question.
Frank, I didn't really get to the point, what is that your question directly?
So I want to ask about what habits and structures that you're putting into place that are going to be scalable going into the future, because I know you're also quite a young district. And so as you grow, and maybe as the momentum that you have, what are you doing to keep the fire burning?
Got it. Thank you. That's actually when I was giving my answer to Sunil's initial question, I mentioned something like from the very beginning, what we thought is whatever we do is to make our members benefit out of the Toastmasters program. That's fundamental to anything. So any sustainability depends on how we give back to the members, the value for the money and the value for being that their time being spent in Toastmasters. So the identifying the two things out of it, identifying the problems early, if at all, if there is any at the club level or a member level, and finding early solutions to and implement. That is the first thing. That is the first thing that the district officers from area director or the club officers should first and foremost to be taught from COT to or ESCOM. That training should be on understanding that the quality meetings and the benefit deliverables, carrying out the moments of truth properly, then new member orientation, then the trainings at various, whether better club series or better speaking series or contest, all that educational. So these identifying the educational things, these are all, because finally Toastmaster is all about education. We are all there only for that purpose. So identifying the member needs and making sure the foundations are very, very important. Second thing is making members as aspirations. Because you role model as a succeed as whether as area director or club level leaders or district leaders, that becomes a lot of aspirations for a lot of members from the club level onward to seeing you grow, seeing you attaining even outside of the Toastmasters. Many of the Toastmasters, the real test of their leadership or growth is how they excel outside of the Toastmasters. This I'm not saying this is very much in the Toastmasters manual. So these are the practices which which you should give very close attention in all your trainings, in your district leader success plan or area success plan or club success plan, and monitor it very, very clearly. And I always ask the members, your term is not 1 year. Leaders, no, your term is not 1 year. Then you are doing injustice. You start a club before just you come out and become a president, distinguished area or a division or district. That club dies within 5 months or 4 months. That is great injustice. So you have to think beyond your term. So that creates a greater sustainability. And the best practices are very much, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have very much in the manuals. Something can be, tricky things can be shared by us or shared by those who've gone through successfully. We had a 5-year plan. That's a very important thing I want to clear. We had a beautiful 5-year plan we created. And in first year itself, I created a district director's slogan called Passion, Performance, and Progress. And that is not a slogan. Each of these had a yardstick to measure performance. What we wanted. We wanted 75 clubs, 2,000 members, 100% distinguished club. We achieved 75 clubs, more than 2,000 members, and 103% distinguished club. Similarly, there is a 5-year plan for each year, 2019, 20, 2021, 2022, like that. So that includes various other things which is too much to talk about. So you should have a 5-year plan, try to work on a 5-year plan, and try to work on the basic things like MOT, orientation, proper trainings. Essential training should be done, and maximum members' engagement and members achieving what they aspire for. Over to you. I hope I answered, Frank.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, especially that 5-year plan. That would be interesting to get a template.
Yeah, we can share you I'll remove the numbers. We can share you the basic template.
Frank, some of the highlights of the 5-year plan are, we want to produce one world champion of public speaking from District 116. And also we want to produce one international president from District 116.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And we are on track.
Thank you so much to the district leaders. Okay. Thank you so much to the district leaders, Rajeswar and Menon, for their insights on how to build sustainability as a district. Fellow Toastmasters, our time together is about to come to an end, but not before summarizing all the nuggets that came through from all the district leaders from 116 who shared their insights on us and how we can build for success. One of the things I learned was that if you fail to plan, then you're planning to fail. Our club growth director spoke about the importance of thinking global, but acting local. And also the fact that as a leader, you've got to lead by example, because ultimately people do what people see. Building relationships before asking results was what was mentioned by our past district director, Rajeswar. And success is not limited to just the current year. We've got to build something that's sustainable, probably as sustainable as 5 years and beyond. But ultimately, it's all about creating member value and maximum member engagement. It's been an absolutely awesome session with the district leaders of 116 and the rest of the leaders from Africa. I'm now going to hand over proceedings back to you, Grace. Over to you.
Grace, you're muted, Grace.
So thank you once again, Maud. And I think we have already covered all the panel discussions from segment 1, 2, and 3. And now I would like to give it back to District 116 leaders. If you want to say anything before we leave and say goodbye, and then we will give it back to our
Grace, we did not hear from the district director of District 97, Venus.
Oh yeah. Because the district director Venus Denan, District 97, she is here tonight. Thank you for joining us from the beginning, even earlier on before we started till the end. So thank you so much. Any question that you'd like to ask or feedback or what would you like to say? Venus, please unmute yourself.
I think she's she's having some system.
Yeah, she's there.
Yeah.
District Director Venus Denan.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. But I learned a lot just by listening, and all the questions I wanted to ask were asked already and were discussed. And we also already had a special session together, and those are the same questions. But there is one thing, if you give me a moment, like we've been talking about, you shared everything about serving. So I'm very much interested to know, how do you as top leaders of very successful district keep the momentum going within yourself? Because we've been talking about serving. So how about caring for ourselves as leaders? So how do you keep that momentum?
Who would like to start that? Can we start with our district director, Tayalan K? How do we keep the momentum going?
Yes, thank you, Venus. Right. Actually, the momentum going, I would say one is we have to first lead from the front. So only if we have the energy and enthusiasm, then only the momentum build up and go. If we as a leader, if we don't have the energy and if you just sit back and shoot only the mails or something, that may not work out. That is number one. Second one is we have to keep on monitoring what is happening. As our past district directors said, the dashboard, something we always have to monitor what is going on, how we can improve all those, that is very, very important. Only if you monitor, then only people also will understand they are on the radar. So otherwise, what will happen? They will be sitting there, and after when we come to towards the end of the term, that time we have a shortage of time to do the adjustments. So always we have to monitor. And one great thing what you have to do is don't be stingy in appreciation and recognition. Today you would have seen one thing. When I was talking about my dear darling club growth director, when he was a division director, I used to call him my darling, because that is the recognition I used to give him. And that is one of the point today I made it here, and that he was spotlighted. That is the recognition for him. So that means I made it a point that this year also he, as a club growth director, he is doing his best to make this district once again on the top, right? So this recognition is always everybody, each and every person is starving for this recognition. Let us capitalize on that, okay? And keep monitoring, then the momentum will be always there. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else would like to add to that? Manzoor, would you like to add?
Well, one advantage for us is, we are all in one single country. Geographically, we are in a very small country. We have known each other for many years. And most of the leaders and most of the members, and probably some of us can even take about 25 to 30% of our members by name. So that's an advantage for us. Yeah, I'm not joking it seriously, because we know them by seeing the face, and we can call them by the names, which is something unique, when compared to other countries. Of course, as a district, the number of clubs are more. Number of areas, we have got 28 areas, we've got 7 divisions, but still the leaders, we've been seeing them, we've been interacting with them, we've been working with them for the last many years. Like Rajeswar, I was part of his division, I was his division CGD, we had a different name those years when he was the division governor. So, and Raghavan already said we were area directors together. So, and when I was a division governor, he was my CGD. So we have worked together for so many years. So that helps us in maintaining that relationship and keeping that momentum going. And with leaders like, I remember one of the questions was how do we, make the optimum use of the past district leaders. Now they're all stationed here. Like we have the one of the first two past district directors who are from Qatar. They are still there, active Toastmasters. They're very active in Toastmasters, and many past leaders. So when they are there, to actually add values to even the new members who joins today. So that's one reason I think we keep the momentum going. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the legacy that have been left for us leaders and which will continue in the coming years also. We have no choice but to be somewhere near what Rajeswar and Raghavan has left for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to say that there goes all the days that not everyone is born a great leader, but anyone can foster core leadership competencies for themselves and become actionable, effective leaders. We can all do this, not just District 116. We're just going to have stepped out of our comfort zone and just do it. So there's really no secret formula. It's all up to you if you would like to lead and be a good example. So now I'd like to give it back to R.A. Sunil to close this session.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Maud. And my sincere thanks goes to our wonderful leaders of District 116 who have proven that they can do it and who are ready to share their success story with everyone. Together, we can reach to the top. We all can be there celebrating together. That's what we want in another few months from now. And all the leaders here, area directors, members from other districts across the world, thank you so much for sitting patiently for almost 3 hours and listening to our leaders' wisdom. Wonderful. It shows how committed you are. And you can do wonders. I believe in something, right? See, there is a magician in you. There is a magician in each and every member we deal with in your district, in your club, in your area, in your division. If you are able to see that magician, if you are able to inspire them to bring magic, you will see our members are not limited by anything. They are all creative. They have great ideas. They can do magic. And let us spread that magic. Let us inspire our members with those, or to find out that magician in them, help them. Let more and more leaders come. Let more and more leaders serve our community. Let the benefit of Toastmasters program spread everywhere. Let the members benefit. Thank you so much again. Have a wonderful night. The day starts again tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
And
Thank you.